Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show today, guys. This is a big one. We are moving forward as a country. The gloves are off, and Trump is making things happen right now. The Supreme Court is signaling that the birthright citizenship ban that Trump wants will be put into place and is actually valid. This would remove so many people from the United States, so many people that are non-citizens or migrants that are dependent upon our Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all that across the board. It would remove this big time. And because of this, the Trump admin is now signaling across the board with the GOP. They're talking right now over the new healthcare programs. They're talking about all the new bills that they're adding. Guys, we are hearing things of $1,000 increase to Social Security on the lowest recipients to help combat the affordability crisis. Right now, for Medicare, there's supposed to be a 10% increase in premiums going into 2026. They want to cover that and give an additional, they want to do a 20% increase in payouts so that there's a 10% reduction with the overall increase. Like, all this is happening today, guys. Big breaking news. I love it. If you love what Trump is doing, guys, hit the thumbs up like button, because this is 100% an America First agenda. The tariff revenue is coming into play. All the money that the savings from Doge, President Trump literally hired one person, guys, one person, and saved the taxpayers over $200 million by hiring one air traffic control project manager who modernized all the systems. All this money coming in was released. The speech he gave and the stuff that's happening on Capitol Hill is massive today. And not only that, we've got Elon Musk, who's doubling down with Congress to go after corrupt individuals within Congress. Elon Musk posted that Elon Omar has been speaking treasonous acts. We have her caught on video. Elon Omar speaking in Somalia, I don't even know if that's the name of the language, saying this, and I quote, "The U.S. government will only do what Somalians in the U.S. tell them to do. They will do what we want and nothing else. They must follow our orders." This is what Elon Omar is telling people back home in Somalia and her constituents that are Somalian here in the United States, and now they're looking into her butt. Guys, all this stuff that's happening, like, we got video evidence, baby. You can't deny that. Not only that, we have another Democrat from Georgia, Representative Sharon Henderson, who's just been indicted for stealing pandemic unemployment funds through false claims. She has now 12, listen to this, 12 federal counts against her for theft and lies. This is amazing, guys. We love this stuff. This is justice. This is investigations, cleaning out the swamp, going after every Democrat out there. We are bringing the evidence today because not only that, U.S. Customs and Border Protection are moving forward with a new plan. Listen to this. To make social media history of anyone that is trying to enter into the United States via a visa, that for the past 5 years, there will be a analyzation. So if in the past 5 years, if you're trying to come into our country and in the past 5 years, you've said some crazy stuff about America, or if you said some crazy stuff about hating America, death to America, or anything like that, we're not going to let you in. Guys, this is what we voted for. This is the America that's putting all American citizens first and making sure that we're not playing around when it comes to the affordability, the new bills that are being presented today, health care, Social Security increases, holding Democrats accountable. This is what we voted for, baby. And we even got all the new updates on the redistricting across the entire nation. Big show for you today, guys. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our supporters, all of our members. We can't thank you enough. If you're not a part of the family yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button, joining our family so we can serve you every day with the breaking news. I just want to say thank you to everybody that supports in your giving. Give some special love to all those that have donated. Terry Stewart, show Terry some love in the chat. Everett M, thank you so much, Everett and Terry. And our boy Robert Cash, show Robert some love in the chat, everybody. We appreciate y'all so much. If you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button, it really does help out our channel. And don't forget our sponsor chapter, guys. If you are about to turn 65, if you're having any life changes and you're on Medicare right now, you can be helped by Chapter. This is a free service to you guys. We've literally had people save thousands of dollars. We had one person save $5,000 a year in healthcare. You can't make this stuff up. These are real members in our chat, and they got blessed, and I want you to be blessed. It is a free service to you. The number's in the description as well as the bottom of the screen. So if you're on Medicare and you're going through any life changes, guys, call them up. Tell them that Joel sent you from TrueLife News. The number is 667-895-3015, and I promise you will be blessed. Guys, we got a lot to get into. This big, beautiful bill that's coming out is huge. Show some love in the chat, guys, because a lot of stuff is about to change today with what's happening in Congress. Check this out.
For more, let's bring in House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Jason Smith. Chairman, nice to see you today. All right, so 2026, expectations are pretty high for what the big, beautiful law is going to deliver. Walk us through this. Tell Americans where they're going to see the money showing up that's going to give them some relief.
So next year, you're going to see the largest tax refunds in history for average day Americans. The bill that we passed on July 4th, the Working Families Tax Cut, the big, beautiful bill, it is the largest tax cut in U.S. history. And a lot of the provisions within that bill, such as increasing the child tax credit and making that permanent, increasing the guaranteed deduction and making that permanent. That is something that 91% of Americans use to file their taxes. But we also provided other beneficial tax items like no tax on tips. And that's above the line that actually can go towards the standard deduction. We increased the senior deduction.
Let's go.
To create no tax on Social Security, as the president was asking. And we also eliminated tax on overtime. These provisions alone will allow people's wages to grow exponentially next year with larger refunds.
Guys, they're talking about refunds if you do your taxes, and they're talking about refunds being anywhere from $1,600 to $2,000 higher increases next year when you file your taxes, guys. And what I love is that across the board, guys, I show you context. The Democrats are losing it right now because left-wing reporters are literally blaming Biden now for all the inflation problems. The affordability problems, it's on Biden. Listen to this.
But the affordability issue is from the 22%.
I'm sorry, guys. Wrong screen.
But the affordability issue is from the 22% increase in prices and inflation under Biden.
Under
There's
Biden.
just full stop right there. That's the affordability issue. And you ought to be able to explain that.
Right. That's right. And look, I think that with the economic team, President Trump and the economic team led by Scott Bessent, you have people who very much understand this. And it was they were thrown, what I would say, the worst economy for the average American in my adult lifetime, in terms of like you said, the incredible increase in prices at the household.
But the affordability issue is from the 22% increase in prices and inflation under Biden.
Guys, I told y'all. We show you the truth, guys. Things that are happening across the board, you cannot lie. These charts don't lie right here. U.S. grocery prices, guess what? When it was Trump, they were flat. Whenever it got under Biden, it skyrocketed across the board. And these are the facts. These are the receipts, guys. You can fact check me. Go check it out, whether it's cheese, alcohol, grocery, dairy, produce, meat. We are better off when you have somebody who's a business guy and knows how to work the economy. If you love this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Thank you so much, Kathy Brewer, for the super chat. Said, come on, my friends. We have to stand up for the Republican Party. We can't stay silent and watch the left destroy our country. Let's go. I love it. Show Kathy some love in the chat, because I'm telling you guys, big relief is coming. I'm going to show you in a moment all the stuff they're talking about for the Social Security, the Medicare, the Medicaid, which I love because, again, taking care of our seniors should be a priority. Listen to this.
Congressman, this showed up in my inbox, and I'm going to pick a little bone about it because Brian's heard me talk about it. So the Trump accounts, they're investment accounts, essentially IRAs for kids, but they're seeded for the next 4 years. I'm not talking about the Dell money. I'm talking about the $1,000 that essentially was borrowed on the backs of taxpayers that's been put into every one of them for 4 years. This is at a time when we're roughly $38 trillion in debt. We're paying $100 billion more or over that per month on interest on the national debt, when encouraging family formation and childbearing and raising children is already one of the most subsidized behaviors in this country. Why did we need to create what will turn out to be another entitlement?
This will be absolutely transformational. In fact, I would disagree and not view it as an entitlement. It will view it where people will become capitalist and they will see that their investment within the stock market will grow. It will be transformational. There's less than 50% of Americans that actually own stocks. It's the wealthiest that own stocks. And when you look at those provisions in there, that will actually reduce the future of entitlements. And it will also be very helpful for these young children who may not have Social Security by the time they get there.
All right,
guys, and that's the big one, guys, because everything is about affordability right now, and we have to prepare ourselves for what's coming. But I just got to keep showing you the receipts of right now. We have CNN who is reporting again, gas prices are getting even lower. When it comes to the Trump accounts, Trump is a long-term thinker. The Trump accounts, if you put in what you're putting into Social Security as a employee and stuff, regardless, by the time that you retire, that initial $1,000 will turn into almost $2 million. That's what Trump's betting on, guys. Long-term thinking, smart thinking. Don't just keep feeding a problem where they say Social Security's going to become insolvent. Well, if we don't change or do something different, how are we going to fix it? But listen to here, guys, because again, too, you cannot deny Trump knows what he's doing when it comes to the energy and economy.
Is the price of gasoline. Look at this, a fresh 4.5-year low, 3.5-year low of $2.95 a gallon as of today.
Let's go.
That is miles away from the all-time high set back in 2022 under former President Biden, above $5 a gallon, and it is lower, although only a little bit lower than at this point last year. Now, is the price of...
Again, is this not wins, guys? And I want to show you this because we're always talking about arrest, charges, things that are happening like that.
Updated on this
Look at
story.
this. So, Georgia Democrat representative has been indicted now for stealing pandemic funds. 12 counts, y'all, at the federal level for theft and lies. This is what we voted for. This is what we want to see across the board with everybody. If you stole money, if you took advantage of the system, you stole from the taxpayers, your butt's going to jail. Let me know your thoughts in the comments because we are just getting started today, guys, with everything that's happening. This is beautiful. Trump ain't playing around, guys. Listen to this.
Today, the Fed, of course, talking about the last of the rate cuts and his forecast for next year, what's going to happen. I think, give me a minute, our bigger complaint is that the Fed, we have said now for the last couple of years, it's the calculation, really, of how we set interest rates. And I think this is why President Trump refers to him as too late pal. The next Fed chair, I think the first thing, and Scott Bessent has got that magnificent series, and I'll put it back up later today on Getter so you can read it, in the Wall Street Journal, and the I think there was the International Journal of Finance, where he goes through a detail of how really the Fed's become part of the deep state, kind of the Liz Truss pitch about the Bank of England, and that they don't take care. They're trying to do so much, most of it woke, most of it related to DEI or globalism, and not take care of business, which is about the currency and about employment, and maybe having a dual mandate is not a thing. I recommend they don't focus on employment. They should focus on just the currency itself, of which I think they do a terrible job. It's one of the reasons gold is on fire, right? And you can do that by going and talking to the folks at Birch Gold, Philip Patriot and the team. Your thoughts on interest rates, but also back to the centerpiece of what President Trump has tried to do. And we need to say this over and over and over again. We made two huge bets about the United States of America, and the United States of America is an industrial power, and not just nationalism, but what's in the best interest of the American people.
Let's go.
And this is about us returning to be a manufacturing superpower with high value-added manufacturing jobs. We're not China, but the United States is the centerpiece of this, because our elites sold us out over a 30-year period to ship everything to China. And Joe Allen's going to join us, and we're going to talk today about chips and AI and the whole fight there. Well, it looks like our elites are trying to do it again for the second time, to shift, to basically give China the tools to defeat us. President Trump's two bets are the big, beautiful bill. The supply side tax cut is about giving some incentives to capital to invest in a massive way here in plant and equipment. The whole redoing of the commercial relationships of the world, which folks were only in the first 6 months of this. These trade deals alone with Japan and Korea in the past took 3 to 5 years to do. It go on and on and on. President Trump is trying to quick march that to change the commercial relationships to incentivize the foreign manufacturers to relocate here to the United States of America. Now,
let me tell you this, guys, and again, we're showing you things across the board, because again, all the stuff's happening today. We got bills, we're talking about redistricting, we're talking about how we have to make sure we win, but everything that he just said, what Trump is working on, none of it will matter if we don't win the midterms. And that's why, again, I show you this to keep you updated, everybody. Check this out. This is the new redistricting map over who's gaining, who's losing, all the states that currently are set up right now when it comes to the redistricting. Guys, this matters. Right now, we have already confirmed, that the GOP is going to gain 11 seats. The Democrats already confirmed they're going to gain 6 seats. So that nets a 5 increase in GOP seats for the GOP. Pending gains, okay? 10 for the Republican and 3 for the Democrats. A total of 21 new House seat wins for the Republicans, 9 for the Democrats, which would net an additional 11 seats for the GOP, guys. Because this what matters. Like, again, we have to win it. If we don't win the midterms, Trump will get impeached again. And one of the biggest wins that we're about to see now is everything that you're about to see now, because all this stuff has to do with affordability and giving you your hard-earned tax dollars back. If you love this guy, show some love in the chat. Hit the thumbs up like button. Listen to this, because it's going to blow your mind.
Why not, instead of sending 100% of the money to the insurance company, of which they take 20% for profit and overhead, instead we send 100% to the patient, and then she can spend it on the services that she knows she needs. And this is kind of, if you will, the Republican plan. And I'm going to tilt it this way so those in the audience can see, because they represent the American people. Under the Democratic plan, they want to send 100% of the money to the insurance company that takes 20% for profit and overhead. And only 80% goes for patient care. But to get that 80%, you've got to ask permission. We, Republicans, want to give the money to the patient so that she can pay for her physician, her dentist, her drugs, her eyeglasses. She gets the money, and she can get the health care that she knows she needs, as opposed to the health care that she gets permission from her insurance company to get.
Ooh.
To put it simply, we want power to the patient, not profit to the insurance company.
Guys, I told you, all this stuff's coming out today. This is big, big stuff. And you know what? Let's go ahead and lay the smack down on what's happening with Elon Omar, so that you can go ahead and see that. Elon Musk, richest guy in the world, 200 and almost 30 million followers posted. Elon Omar comes out and she's speaking in her own language right here. She's speaking, the U.S. government will only do what Somalians in the U.S. tell them to do. They will do what we want and nothing else. They must follow our orders. Guys, this is the kind of deep state we want to root out. We want America First policies. No denying it. She's saying it in plain Somalian, translated to English. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this, because a lot of stuff is happening today. But these are huge wins of exposing the left, but also huge wins to putting the power back into we, the people's hands.
I am one that's not exactly ever super happy about foreign capital coming to the United States because I think it brings too much control. However, in the current economic system we have, if they're going to bring their manufacturing back, they're going to bring lead with their capital to do it. So we'll have to work through that. But that is a high-class problem. Dave, Brad, your sense of where it's going, and you could tell last night from the audience reaction, the audience wants to hear President Trump address these things. They love it when he starts talking about this. I mean, and it was perfect. Alexander Priate, the people, Susie Wiles, and the people at the White House to pick Scranton for the first one, I think was absolutely brilliant. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, well, Scott Bessent is doing Herculean work. His best phrase a year ago was, Wall Street has had its turn. Now it's time for Main Street. We have to make that happen real quick. So the last 30 years of Federal Reserve policy with the Greenspan put has always favored Wall Street and the rich, and they can time things. And the Federal Reserve System, I hope someone is cleaning that out. Because they're part of the problem, right? It goes without saying, 21% inflation because they validated $2 trillion spending deficits from the government. They validated that. They said, okay, right, we're going to print you enough money so you guys can put the United States out of business. The only thing that gets me nervous about the Fed now and Treasury is it's getting so complex now, no one can understand it, right? I did a PhD in economics, studied monetary policy some, not an expert in monetary, but I can't follow some of this breaking news, right, on the new monetary innovations and what's going on. We need to simplify. Milton Friedman, if you want to help the average person doesn't know yet. And as a Calvinist, we're not known for our feelings. But when I get really ticked off inside when I know what we just did to the middle class, right? And the working class is working for $10 an hour, $20 an hour. They don't know. They're 21% inflation, the purchasing power of their entire retirement account, if they have one, of their lifetime savings just went down by 21% in 4 years. They don't know that. They think it's just like the grocery basket where you're at the supermarket and food prices are a little high. No, it's way worse than that. And so, Milton Friedman, it was pretty simple. Print M2 goes up, the same percentage rate as GDP goes up, right? There you go. That's enough money to accommodate the growth in the real economy, and that's it. And quit hiring all these economists who are all woke, and they're studying everything under the sun except for median, the average person's wages.
Wow.
They're not doing anything there. They're just doing all woke politics on the left.
And I'll tell you this, everybody, all of this, just remember, it always goes back to lobbyists. It goes back to wasteful spending. It goes back to all the things that we've witnessed thus far, guys. And when you see this, we have literally representatives that are calling it out, still fighting this stuff that you're about to hear. It is ridiculous. Listen to this.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. As you know, as I've been championing the cause to quit paying the dadgum Taliban $40 million or $45 million, whatever it is, a week. We've given them over $5 billion total since the Biden administration. Every week, we can't stop the bill. We can't get the bill passed in the Senate. It's taken me over a year to get it out of the dadgum House. And we got a fellow over in the Senate who was a staffer, but he was a former, I believe, ambassador to Afghanistan. And his name is what? Tom West. And apparently, our good friend Tulsi Gabbard and the Trump administration denied him his security clearance because of his alleged cozy relationship with the Taliban.
Wow.
And so I suspect that's what's going on in the Senate. That's why they're stopping the bill, and people say, well, y'all are in the majority, why don't you just act like it? Well, you got to have 60 votes over there to pass a bill of this significance, and that's the holdup. And we're going to continue to see this kind of nonsense until the country wakes up. And I don't care what party you're in. We shouldn't be paying these people any money. They will hate us for free. All they're going to do is use that money to come at us in a different area and kill Americans and kill our allies. Dadgummit. This is what's going on. I'm letting you know about it. You can make the call. Call your senator if you've got a Democrat senator. This is beyond that. This is actual, in my opinion, corruption. We know this money flows around. We know You know, Elon Musk told us about it flowing into dark money campaigns, and I think some of this money, I'm not sure if this is or some of the other, but surely it's flowing back into the pockets of politicians in Washington. And if it's a Republican, I hope they haul him out of here in chains.
Yes.
And a Democrat as well, because I don't care. I'm sick of it. We're $38 trillion in debt. We're sending over $40 million a week to the Taliban, and the United States Congress doesn't have the guts to stop it. That's pathetic.
Do you see this, guys? This is real talk. This is what's really happening. And again, we're trying to go and fight against every bit of corruption. I showed you that another Georgia Democrat has been indicted for stealing pandemic funds. The corruption is across the board, even in Minnesota. Minnesota Dems allegedly let tax dollars fund terrorists, and police were left without money to protect the public. The police unit leader warns that Minnesota could lose another 2,500 officers over the next few years. So again, we keep funding terrorists overseas. Congress doesn't want to stop it. There's too much of a deep state within that, and it's literally hitting the states now, where it's affecting cops, it's affecting our general safety. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments, because again, too, this is happening in the United States of America, and a lot of people have no idea that it's happening, and that's why we got to keep fighting it, because again, when we expose it, people vote differently when they know the facts.
Right. Is immigration, and this is all immigration.
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
essentially, Axios has a piece up. Please go to Getter. This is where I put my stuff up. Is that Axios has a very smart piece today that says, essentially, President Trump, really from the shooting, and hey, maybe it should have started day one, is essentially stopping kind of all immigration right now. And we recommend this. If you want wages to pop, it's not just the H-1B scam, which has to be eliminated. We need to stop bringing in the world to compete with workers in the United States. And don't sit there and tell me, oh, they're better, they have more entrepreneurial drive. The people in the United States of America have plenty of entrepreneurial drive. They just need a shot to execute. And so stopping immigration, a huge part of this, you can see already with wages of working class people. Stopping the illegal alien immigration, which was what Wall Street wanted. The reason they backed Biden, they wanted to drive wages down among the working class, particularly Hispanic Americans and African Americans, right? And so he stopped that. He stopped that. Over 2 million have self-deported because they understand the rules of the games have changed.
Boom.
Now you need to get into what I call the legal immigration, which is also all a scam. You got green cards. The whole thing's a scam. You're going to have to take half a decade at least to think all this through and see how it benefits the American citizen while it's benefiting the country.
Let me tell you this, guys. We have movement finally on this of who gets to come into our country, because we got people here, just like somebody posted. Thank you so much for your support. Don Sturgis with the super chat said they are chanting death to America in Dearborn and Hamtramck, Michigan. Rashes Talib in the squad is their representative in Washington. Another squad member, Elon Omar, just as bad with Somalians. But right now, CBP proposes a mandatory 5-year social media history for visa waiver travelers. If you got something on your social media that essentially is anti-America, you shouldn't be able to come here. That is not okay. You should be able to come to America if you love America, you want to assimilate, and you want to be a part of the great American dream. I mean, is that too much to ask for whenever we bring you in and we will support you with taxpayer benefits? Like, are you kidding me? This is what we're fighting on, and this is one of the biggest changes they're pushing today. This would affect citizens from over 42 countries, guys. Huge, huge, massive changes they're trying to push through, and I 100% agree. If you love this, guys, hit the thumbs up like button, because this is the changes that actually drives huge changes in our country when it comes to people that are here, that actually want to be here, that actually want to love America. Because trust me, guys, we got enough Democrats or people that hate America, and I say, you know what? We'll pay for you to go somewhere else too. Listen to this.
Brad.
One point on that. Well, you just immigrate. It's hard to keep up with all the corruption, right? The Federal Reserve has hundreds and hundreds of economists. really smart people, right? University of Chicago, Harvard, all the top brains. But the brains don't have courage and they don't have any moral convictions. And economics is supposed to maximize human happiness. How's that going? The guys that study economics, they just take all those initial assumptions and ignore the basic point. They're supposed to be maximizing human happiness. So when you have 20 million illegal immigrants, a border invasion, and no Federal Reserve economist has studied that phenomenon. Hey, guys, you think that might affect the economy? I mean, the U.S. government, right? All of the budget committees. Have any of the economists covered the damage done to the American worker? No, because that's run by the Speaker's office and the leadership office, and the donors control those offices.
Ooh,
so
the donors.
The three mega issues that we've been on, right? The economy, the border invasion. The past two wars were $17 trillion. Any economic articles on the opportunity cost, right? That's the first term you learn in an intro book of that 17 trillion. And we have a $7 trillion government budget right now. Hey, economists out there, what is the productivity on government spending? I haven't seen it lately, right? What's the productivity?
Right,
if GDP growth is 2, what's the productivity on the $7 trillion in government spending? Haven't seen a study on that, guys, because if the American...
And I'm telling you this, guys, only because Trump is in his position with his administration that you are hearing massive, massive wins like this, because this adds up. Eventually, it all adds up, everybody. The money savings that they want to bring back to Americans.
Job number one is building a brand new air traffic control system, making sure it's more efficient, safer. President Trump and I are working on that. By the way, just a quick note, Brian, we hired a project manager. In 5 minutes, Donald Trump saved us $200 million on that contract. He's remarkable. But as people travel through our skies, we want to have the most enjoyable experience for them.
Did you hear that? Trump saved $200 million of taxpayer dollars by hiring one air traffic control project manager to modernize the systems. That is the future, guys. And everything that we're trying to bring to the table today, it's what is going to be in the best interest of America. American citizens, our budgets, your pocketbooks. Listen to this.
We're glad to have her this morning. Now, look, we've had one of the most consequential, most productive, most successful Congresses in the history of this institution, the 119th Congress. In spite of those small margins, the Republican majority has been working in lockstep with the Republican majority in the Senate, even though that one's small as well, and of course, with our strong Republican president and his administration. And the results of that cannot be questioned. And I see this false narrative right now. Oh, they haven't done enough. Oh, pray tell. Listen, the Working Families Tax Cut, the big, beautiful bill, took about 6 months of the first part of this Congress to put together because it was so consequential and so comprehensive. And there are so many things in that bill that our members are going to be so excited to go and run on and talk about in the upcoming election cycle, because we inherited an absolute disaster from the Biden administration. Virtually every area of public policy was decimated, and we had to rebuild from the ground up in many of these places and make all sorts of changes and reforms to get America back again. And we did. And we put it all in this one landmark piece of legislation that will have consequences for generations. And it will be seen and written by history to be one of the biggest things that the Congress has ever achieved. And among those things was an approach to beginning this affordability agenda. Because remember, we inherited massive inflation from the previous administration. It's no secret affordability is a flashpoint, right, in recent weeks. And we had 4 catastrophic years of Bidenomics that we inherited. The Biden administration spent like drunken sailors, and they attempted to tax and regulate their way to prosperity, and we all knew when they were doing it that it would not work. It had exactly the opposite effect. The result was inflation skyrocketed, gas prices reached record highs, homeownership declined, credit card debt increased, all those things that everybody felt and they're still feeling now. Now, the American people gave us a mandate in the election. The president won the Electoral College soundly. He won a big majority popular vote. We got the highest vote total for House Republicans in the history of this institution, and they charged us to go fix this. We began that process with the big, beautiful bill, and we have never let up on the accelerator. We keep it going day by day, week by week, notching away at this, trying to fix everything that the previous team broke. And now I wish we could flip a switch right after the election and make it all go away and make it all right. But you know that's not how the economy works. It takes some time to implement new policies and root out the bad things, and that's what's happening. It is a fact that the Biden administration and their Democrat enablers in Congress, we cannot forget, wrecked the U.S. economy. That's what happened, and we had to take it over in January. This is why Democrats' newfound claims about affordability are just patently absurd. Okay, here are the facts, and you know this. Many of you don't write about it, but these are the facts, and they're undisputed. They broke the economy, and now they want to lecture to the American people about affordability. They opened our borders, and now they want to lecture to the American people about immigration border enforcement. They broke the American healthcare system. They caused premiums to skyrocket. And now they have the audacity to tell Republicans that the only way to save it is to throw hundreds of billions of dollars to health insurance companies, which would merely fuel a system that is rife with fraud, waste, and abuse.
Let me tell you this, guys. Anything that has to do with the Democrats, you cannot make up. This is literally from these public sex offender websites. They label these people as white. Now, you and I both, like, I'm not blind. Thankfully, I have good eyesight, so I can see that, yeah, these dudes ain't white, okay? This is not the same as, you know, if you're a guy and you believe, you know, you're a girl, and then you do all the stuff to transition, you know, that's not real. Just because you may think it doesn't mean it's real. But when the Texas State Departments or the Missouri departments are showing that these guys, which we know without a shadow of a doubt, they're not white. This is where the Democrats continue to try to skew the numbers and it's lying blatantly within the systems to the American people, okay? Without a shadow of a doubt. And I've told you, I bring the receipts. When these people come into our country, just like right here, this was reposted by Elon Musk. Elon Omar comes out and says the U.S. government will only do what Somalians in the U.S. tell them to do. They will do what we want and nothing else. They must follow our orders. This is why this is so important right here. That tourists must divulge social media history under White House plan. You're coming to the United States, you're going to be a tourist, or you're going to get a visa. Guess what? We're going to actually see what you're all about, because we're tired of bringing people into America that hate America, want to change America, and don't want to assimilate.
Not be an arsonist and a firefighter at the same time. That's the message for the Democrats. Let's be very clear about one thing. When the Democrats talk about healthcare affordability, okay, this catchphrase that they have, they are talking about one thing and one thing only. They are talking about continuing handouts to big insurance companies. They have no ideas, they have no desire to fix the broken system they created. They just want to subsidize it. And subsidy is a big word. It means they're taking taxpayer dollars and funding a broken system. That is their entire affordability agenda in a nutshell. This agenda does not lower healthcare costs. All it does is hide the cost of the failed law, which we assume is the point. And their proposal, which is a 3-year extension of these enhanced subsidies, the Democrat COVID subsidies that they created, that they put the expiration date on for this December. That proposal to extend that for 3 years is devoid of any reforms to clamp down on the rampant waste, fraud, and abuse. And it continues to provide taxpayer-subsidized health care to Americans who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars in annual salary. It doesn't make any sense. Now, you heard Whip Emmer and Leader Scalise reference the massive fraud that's just been uncovered in the last week or so in Minnesota. We know that this has been going on around the country in these deep blue states, and now the evidence is starting to come forward. It's staggering. It should upset. It should anger every American. That this is where their dollars are being wasted and abused. A new report by the Government Accountability Office, which I haven't seen too much written about yet, you should look into that. It is an eye-opener as well. It makes clear why it would be a dereliction of duty to just extend subsidies without massive reforms to them, okay? Over the last 2 years, this is investigators at the Government Accountability Office, okay? They submitted 24 fraudulent applications for the ACA subsidies, the Unaffordable Care Act subsidies, Obamacare, okay? Of the 24 fraudulent applications that they created intentionally to just see what would happen, 23 of them were approved. These applications were completely fraudulent. The investigators did not submit any Social Security numbers, citizenship documentation,
Oh my goodness.
or reported income documents. And 23 of the 24 applications were still approved.
Guys, if you love that we're exposing this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, did you hear that? For Obamacare, no Social Security, nothing, no documents, no citizenship, no nothing, and these people got approved and are getting paid. I wanted to show you this because, again, too, this is the dark side of what has been created as a huge scam in the healthcare industry. Guys, look at this. Prices for the same procedure vary 31x across hospitals in the same state. This is why things are so screwed up. You go and you want an MRI cash price in Landmark Medical Center, it's $300. You get the insured rate and you go to Mass General Hospital, $7,500. You want a colonoscopy, $2,300 cash price, insured rate, $9,600. You need a hip replacement. Cash price is $17,500. Insured rate, $62,500. And guess who pays for this, especially if you're on Medicare, Medicaid? It's the taxpayer. These hospitals, the healthcare system has been gamed. Guys, we have been screwed over by lobbyists, by congressional leaders that put these stupid laws into place, and you're seeing it with your own eyes. This is literally from patientrightsadvocate.org. This is real data. You're hearing it from the Speaker of the House, how screwed up things are, and who's paying for it? It's the taxpayer. It's not the Congress. It's not the unelected bureaucrats. This is why we have to drain the swamp.
18 of those, by the way, are still receiving coverages they were as of September of this year. That means the Obamacare exchange and insurers didn't verify any of the information they're supposed to under the law, and they proceeded to pay tens of thousands of dollars to insurance companies for people who do not exist, okay? The GAO report also found that 29,000 Social Security numbers in 2023 and 68,000 in 2024 were used to receive more than 1 year's worth of insurance coverage. In other words, multiple people were utilizing the same Social Security numbers to openly defraud the American taxpayers. The GAO also found that more than 94 million was sent to insurers on behalf of dead people, okay? This is the system that Democrats in Congress want to extend without reform.
Without reform.
It's unbelievable. Listen, these are undisputed.
You cannot deny the facts. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you look like. The facts are the facts, okay? Since Obamacare, this was posted by Representative Keith Self, okay? Since Obamacare's big rollout in 2014, the 7 largest health insurers have tripled their revenues from $511 billion to $1.5 trillion in 2024, okay? Guys, this is why, again, we sponsored with this company, Chapter. If you're on Medicare, you're going through any life changes, you're about to be 65, you're moving, or things happen with jobs or whatever, call them up. It is a free service to you. The number is 667-895-3015, 667-895-3015. These companies have made so much money. Taxpayers have paid for it. You shouldn't have to pay more for your Medicare than insurance than you have to. Don't give them any more money than you have to. Keep that hard-earned money. We've had so many people that have saved $3,000 on healthcare insurance by using Chapter. $5,000. We've had people get over $1,000 in additional benefits. So don't miss your blessing. I'm showing you all this data because it matters. You need to be taken care of. We need to, and this is us bringing value to you. And we just want to see you be blessed. The number's in the description, as well as at the bottom of the screen. And it matters, guys. These type of results, this you don't get this way just by nowhere because the population didn't increase that much. Like, all this is just taxpayers' money. So again, call them up, 667-895-3015. Tell Chapter that Joel from TrueLife News sent you. John Cause, thank you so much, brother, for the super chat. Said we need Pam Bondi removed immediately so we can hold these slime bags, politicians accountable. Amen, brother. And this is the thing. Show Jog Haas some love in the chat. We are just getting started. The fraud, we found another huge, guys, massive fraud scheme that's been happening because of what? Biden's DEI initiatives. Listen to this.
Okay, today on Capitol Hill, a Senate hearing diving into a Biden-era DEI initiative for small businesses now suspected of massive fraud, all on the taxpayer dime. The program is meant to help small businesses facing social and economic disadvantages, but some are now accused of lying to get taxpayer money and outsource the work. Senator Joni Ernst demanding to stop all the funding until further review. She joins us now along with Daily Wire investigative reporter Luke Rosiak, who will be a witness at that hearing. Senator Luke, thanks so much for joining the program this morning.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, Lawrence.
Oh, thank you, Senator. So let's get into how the American money, the American people's money has been taken advantage of. Can you explain specifically what was going on here and how they were taking advantage of those taxpayer funds?
Yes, absolutely, Lawrence. The Small Business Administration currently has a program that's called 8A, and it was designed to help those that are socially and economically disadvantaged. But what we have seen is that many races are listed as being socially or economically disadvantaged, but there is no rhyme or reason. There is no science or data behind who gets included and who is excluded from the program. But what we have found is those that do qualify for the program, some of them will claim those funds from the federal government, but then they will subcontract to a totally different contractor. And we found a $550 million fraud scheme involving bribery through this program. So basically what I am saying is
bribery, $550 million. Like, you got to be kidding me. Again, left and right, everybody. How many times am I showing you there's so much fraud, waste, and abuse, and we would know nothing if it wasn't for Trump's admin?
we need to halt the program. Let's audit all of those funds. We'll audit those that have applied for it. We'll get to the bottom of it.
Luke, and forgive me, Senator, for saying this, but, you know, on the surface of this, the program sounds illegal. How do you give money based on people's identity? That seems like that's unconstitutional to start with it, Luke.
You're exactly right, and it's actually under court injunction right now where you can no longer automatically assume that just because somebody is from the country of India, they should get an IT contract over an American-born white person, because that never made any sense and it's illegal. The problem is there's still a set-aside program for people of social disadvantage. So now you have a case where people write essays and they have a sob story, then they get a set-aside contract. And what that means, Lawrence, is if you wanted to cut down a tree in your backyard, you'd probably call around and get 3 quotes and get the company with the best value. If you're on this list of DC insiders who gets preference because you're socially disadvantaged, they can give you a contract without even shopping it around. And so we have defense contractors that still get no bid contracts because we pretend that they're run by Eskimos. They're an Alaskan native company. And let me tell you, we all kind of know there's no Eskimos building these intercontinental ballistic missiles. And so if we can shut down this DEI program after 50 years because it is illegal, it doesn't help minorities, and it lets random people skim 5% off of your taxpayer dollars, that's going to be draining the swamp.
You know, Senator, if I was going to the South Side doing a barbershop, or if I'm in the Bronx doing a barbershop, or if I'm doing a diner in Iowa, the same story I heard from those folks, which is we were all struggling. But the government was prioritizing different people based on their skin color. I guess my question is, how do we find out about this?
Well, we have whistleblowers that are coming forward and letting us know about these schemes. There are so many fraudsters that have tapped into federal government dollars, and we are exposing that. So Luke will be joining me this afternoon at a hearing in the Small Business Committee. I chair this committee, and we are going to expose federal government fraud, whether it's through the 8A program, the COVID dollars that we saw flowing out, as well as USAID fraud. It is something that I have been trying to expose for years. Well, now I have the platform in the Small Business Committee to bring all of this to light. And Luke is going to share his experiences as an investigative journalist and someone who has really listened to those whistleblowers and brought those stories forward. But that's how we find out about it. We also need to do a better job of auditing as a federal government. This is one of my biggest beefs, is there is so much money flowing out the door with no auditing requirements.
It's so disgusting. Look, I got about 20 seconds.
Guys, let me tell you this. It's rampant. And only people that care about putting America first is who's helping to make it right, to do what is right. And if you love this, guys, we're just trying to show you everything. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Nita Ashetti, thank you so much for your membership. Let's go. Said I support America first. Amen. Show Nita some love in the chat. Because again, too, they're doing congressional hearings right now, guys. Everybody's getting looked at. Everybody's being audited so that you can 100% get and be and make sure that we're not wasting money. Listen to this.
What are we going to do about South Africa as part of AGOA?
Well,
I mean, South Africa is clearly not America's friend.
That's correct. We've had some conversations with the South Africans when it comes to trade. And again, there are a lot of kind of foreign policy issues that I don't get into with South Africa. But when it comes to trade, they have a lot of barriers, not just tariffs, but non-tariff barriers, et cetera. We've made clear to the South Africans that if they ever want to have a better tariff situation with us, they need to take care of these tariffs and non-tariff barriers. They're a real economy. They're a big economy, right? They have an industrial base. They have an agricultural base. They should be buying things from the United States.
But if you extend AGOA for 1 year without reforming it, that's going to benefit South Africa, right?
I mean, it could. I would say we have a 30% reciprocal tariff on South Africa right now, which is much higher than the rest of the continent. So we'll control for it a little bit. But I think South Africa is a unique case. I agree with you, if that's your point.
Don't you think we ought to separate South Africa and AGOA?
I mean, I'm happy to consider that, right? I mean, Congress has come to me and said, we want AGOA. And I think if we're going to have a giveaway, we need to figure out how to improve it. If you think that we should give South Africa different treatment, I'm open to that because I think they are a unique problem.
Well, they're a unique problem for America.
Correct.
I mean, they're not. They're our enemy right now. I mean, they're buddies with all of our enemies, and they've been very critical of the United States.
That's exactly right, and that's why they're actually treated in a much different way. Most of the African continent, sub-Saharan Africa, has just a 10% tariff, and South Africa has a 30%.
Guys, I'm telling you, like, across the board, and I love this because, again, too, you have a lot of the right people in a lot of the right places that just are ready to go after all the fraud, the waste, the abuse, especially when it comes to healthcare. And what we've shown you, the numbers don't lie. Listen to this, because again, across the board, we are making sure that, hey, how can we make sure that you know what's going on, so you know that we either got to keep these people in or we got to vote them out. Listen to this.
Proposal to deal with the Biden COVID bonuses. And this is a vote, as you all know, we could have had weeks ago. It's been on offer now, before we had to go through a 43-day government shutdown. But that's what the Democrats opted to do. And so at the end of the 43 days now, we're going to have a vote on their proposal, which, as it turns out, is really a proposal that just extends the status quo. Doesn't do anything to reform these Biden COVID bonuses in a way that would get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think the one thing that's clear about this, and I think you all who follow this subject know this, that the way that the program is structured, the money goes straight to the insurance companies. And the way that we think this ought to work is you ought to come up with a way in which you can deliver the benefit to the patients and not to the insurance companies, and that you shouldn't have hardworking Americans subsidizing affluent people who make a lot of money. And that's what their proposal continues to do. There is no income limit. There are $0 premiums. There are millions of Americans who don't even know they have coverage, and they have decided not to do anything. Zero reforms to this program. And so the bill that they're going to put on the floor will fail. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a path forward here. We also will have a vote. Our members have decided that we're going to vote on a Crapo-Cassidy proposal, which does the things that I mentioned. It actually does make health insurance premiums more affordable. It drives down, according to the Congressional Budget Office, premiums by double-digit levels. It delivers the benefit directly to the patient, not to the insurance company, and it does it in a way that actually saves money. So to the taxpayer. That is a win-win proposal. So that is an alternative that we will put forward and that we will have a vote on Thursday. And we'll see where the Democrats come down on that. But the fact of the matter is that as long as we have been talking about this subject, and again, they drug us through a 43-day government shutdown in order to do this. Just in the last week, the Government Accountability Office came out with a finding in an audit that they did. There were 19 fraudulent claims made to this program, or 20, I should say. 19 got through. In other words, 95% error rate. When I say waste, fraud, and abuse, I am not kidding. That is the finding as recently as this last week by the Government Accountability Office. This program desperately needs to be reformed. The Democrats have decided we're not going to do anything to reform it. And so we'll see where the votes are on Thursday. But we will have an alternative that we will put up that reflects the views of the Republicans here in the United States Senate about how to make health insurance more affordable in this country, how to ensure that it's not the insurance companies that are getting enriched, that it's actually benefiting the patient, and how to make sure that this is a good deal for the American taxpayer.
Yes, everybody. Like, again, the stuff that we show you like, as Tom Homan, everybody, it's the whole mindset right now is we have to keep controlling what the facts and the truth are against all the fake narratives, against all the lies, all the fraud, all the abuse. But listen to this, because sometimes you just can't believe how far some of these left-wing media outlets will go to try to protect the left-wing narrative.
I've talked to several state and local officials who've said that the number of Somali immigrants who are living in the U.S. illegally there is very, very small, and that this is about scaring people more than it is about arresting criminals. So what have you actually accomplished with this operation so far in Minnesota?
Again, I love it because what she does is she sets up the feel. Things are bad. What y'all are doing is being mean. Things are not as bad as they look. So what are you really doing?
Well, we're just starting, and I disagree. The fact that people, even we don't know how many illegal Somalis there are, because remember, in the last 4 years in Joe Biden, there's over 2 million gotaways. Known gotaways. People caught on video, drone traffic, or censored traffic that crossed the border illegally and weren't apprehended, weren't vetted. And so, what President Trump's doing is fixing the last 4 years of the open border where millions of people are released in this country, men we don't know who they are. So we're going to do the same thing in the Twin Cities we've done across the nation. We're going to focus on those illegal alien public safety threats in these cities. And if they weren't a sanctuary city, many of these people would be apprehended in the safety and security of the county jail. But because they're a sanctuary city, we got to send more resources there to flood the zone, because it takes a whole team to find somebody in the community where it would take one agent to arrest one bad guy in the county jail. So this is exactly what President Trump promised American people were going to do, and that's what we're doing.
Guys, again, it's like this, we have to make sure that, we keep showing the truth of what's actually coming out, what's actually happening, what Trump and them are doing, and what's being, again, stolen right before our eyes. That's the big part. And they're all trying to blame Trump. They're all trying to say that Trump did this, Trump did that. Trump's massive, big, beautiful bill and what it's about to bring to the United States, and the way that we look like to the world of not being screwed over by all these countries. This is huge. Listen to this.
national stage. All right, here now with analysis, former House Speaker, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. Mr. Speaker, a couple of things. I look at Europe and I worry. I worry that their immigration problem, I'm not against legal immigration, but I am against people that come into any country and don't want to assimilate to the values and mores of that country. I don't like that, you know, Great Britain of all places has, you know, some 82 Sharia courts. I don't like the assault on freedom of speech. Look at what recently happened to X and Elon Musk and the issue of free speech. And people post something in Europe and they end up getting arrested and have to spend time in jail. I am very worried what's happening there. I think they are becoming more authoritarian by the day.
Well, I think you have elites who are basically under siege. In almost all these countries, you have popular discontent on a big scale. And so the governments have adopted policies of repression, which are, I think, amazing. The British have a series of laws now that are just crazy. But I think it's desperation. The French have lied for 2 generations about the impact of allowing in people who totally reject French culture and Western civilization. Well, it's not complicated. If you accept enough people who deeply hate and disagree with your culture, you're going to be in big trouble. I thought the new Trump national security paper was really important because it sent a clear signal to the Europeans, not a signal that we don't like them, but a signal that we are so worried about Europe's decay. Its decay culturally, its decay in terms of refugees, its decay economically. You know, none of the $9 trillion companies in the world, none, come from Europe. 2 are Chinese, 7 American. And you just go down item after item. All of Europe combined could not defeat Russia without America's help. Now, they have a huge economy collectively. They have an enormous potential, but they have refused to solve their problems. I think Trump is doing them an enormous service. And J.D. Vance's early speeches, and when he went to Europe, were very
Just think about it, guys, and I love this. If you love what Trump is doing, especially even overseas, hit the thumbs up like button. When Trump goes overseas, he doesn't have to be led by the hand by other people or other countries. He commands the stage. That's what the president of the United States should be.
Much in this line to say, you have to clean up your act. America can't do it for you, and America in the long run cannot prop you up if you refuse to reform your system.
Well, the president also challenged them. He's demanded free and fair trade, and they had been taking advantage of our country. He also insisted they more than double their contribution to NATO. But I think the great danger is, you know, famously there was the Australian prime minister that said, if you want to come to Australia, you will be an Australian or go back from where you came. Right. And I think that Europe, for whatever reason, has allowed people to go to their countries but not assimilate into their values. In other words, I don't like the idea of Sharia courts in Great Britain. It's not that I care what people's religion is, it's that it is separate and apart. It is not one united country.
Well, look, I think this is true across a very large part of Europe, and there's a growing backlash. When you go to places like Hungary or you go to Poland, you see a very large backlash. Look at France, where the largest single political movement is clearly dedicated to returning France to the French. And of course, for the elites, this is all terrible stuff. The European elites decided about a half century ago that they would side with the third world against their own countries, and they adopted policies which are virtually guaranteed to undermine and ultimately their countries will just disappear. So I think we're in a very critical period, and I think what President Trump is doing is historically unbelievably important, and hopefully will arouse in Europe a real sense of survival and a real sense of making the reforms that are absolutely essential if they're going to get anything done.
All right, Speaker Gingrich.
Guys, let me tell you this. This is so big right now. Again, they are, we're going to blast this out because they are, like, we cannot even get our own dang Congress to stop doing this. The Senate is blocking the Taliban funding ban to protect staffers. Representative Tim Burchett says his bill to stop all taxpayer money from reaching the Taliban is being stalled in the Senate because a staffer has ties with the Taliban to protecting its flow. And do not think, guys, for a second that this is not happening, okay? We've got people that are 100%. There's moles, there's people that are in our country, in our Congress, that are not America first. And when we see this stuff and we're like, oh, wait, so they actually did find that this person has ties with the Taliban that's stalling? Do you see, like, is this real Congress? Is this really serving we the people, that one person, one staffer can hold up a bill that's taking $45 million away from the taxpayers and giving it to another country? One staffer that has ties to another country's Taliban is what it's saying? Like, this is the corruption that is blowing my mind that we're trying to show everybody, and we want to expose every single day on this show, guys. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, thank you so much for your support, sharing our videos, liking our videos. We are here to serve you. Remember, every single day we have a show, and we try to bring you the most breaking news of what's going on because it matters. And I just want to give some special love to those that have given. And also, don't forget, guys, there's so much that we've shown you today. If you are turning 65, if you're going through a life change, you're moving, or something's happening with a job or whatnot, something with the life change, you can call Chapter. This is a free service to you. You should not be paying more for health insurance than you have to. And if you haven't gotten help from a company like this, call them up, 667-895-3015. The number's in the description, as well as the bottom of the screen. They've helped out so many people on this channel. So many people have been blessed, saving thousands of dollars a year. And that makes me super happy. And I just want to see as many people be blessed as possible. That's what we're here for, to serve you. So call them up, 667-895-3015. Tell them that Joel sent you from TrueLife News. I promise you won't regret it. But I want to give some special love to those that have given today. Guys, show them some love in the chat. Robert Cash, thank you so much, brother, for your support. Said accountability, truth, and justice, and handcuffs. I love it. Kathy Brewer, thank you so much for your support. Don Sturgis, Jog Haas, thank you so much for your support. Nita Ashetti, Super Divana, welcome to the family. Show Super Divana some love in the chat. And guys, thank you so much for sharing our videos on X, on Facebook. Thank you to Alice, April Green, Mr. Norby, Chris Prez, PDX67, Richard. Thank you to everybody that supports our channel. Guys, we cannot thank you enough. We want to have the best show out there. We want to grow this voice. We want to make sure that we have a clean chat. That's why when people cuss, when people are attacking people, we block them. I'm going to block you. I want a clean chat. We don't need that. We can voice our opinions, be respectful. And this is our family. I want to keep this family clean. So thank y'all for helping me out with that, guys. We love y'all. Appreciate you so much. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.